Cluster bombs are banned in 100 countries as a war crime munition, and yet the United States is sending cluster bombs to the Ukraine to use against Russians. We're going to talk about it. Claire Lopez, speaking of Biden, the Biden administration has just made a bizarre decision to send cluster munitions to Ukraine. The United States has announced it's complying with the Ukrainian request to supply the Ukraine with these controversial munitions. Cluster munitions are banned by more than 100 countries as illegal methods of fighting war. For those that don't know, it's basically a bomb that disperses large numbers of tiny bomblets from a rocket, a missile, or a shell, and it scatters them in mid-flight over a large area. So it creates lots and lots and lots and lots of shrapnel, which is what it's intended to do. But one of the problems with these things is a lot of them are duds, meaning they land in soft or wet ground and they blow up later when you touch them or you bump into it, or they just blow up. And while they can be very effective against dug-in troops, a lot of kids get maimed, and animals and people that don't know it was there and, on their farm, like, what's this? That's why most of the world has them banned. Russia says that they have a failure rate on their cluster bombs of 40%. The United States says their number's very, very low, and that's just not accurate. Why would we be sending these to the Ukraine?
Well, Barry, I'm actually conflicted over this decision, and I've listened to experts and read both sides of the issue. First of all, it should be known that the Russians have been using cluster munitions against the Ukrainian civilian population as well as military ever since their invasion in 2022. And as you say, their dud rate is way high at 40% reportedly, while the United States dud rate is much, much lower, certainly under 3%. And certainly this kind of munition could be very effective, just as you say, against the dug-in defensive positions of the Russian invaders, in Ukrainian occupied by Russian territory in the Donbass, where the fighting is going on right now. So used against identifiable military targets like the Russians dug in a particular confined area would be perhaps a game changer for the Ukrainians and very effective as they are slowly gaining ground and taking back their sovereign territory in the southern Donbass. So I have to say I have not really made up my mind about this yet, and I do see both sides of it.
Well, war is hell, and munitions are intended to kill people. It's not a game. I understand why they're banned, but you make an excellent point. The Russians are slaughtering as many Ukrainians as they can, mostly civilians when possible. When we talked about this week after week, blowing up power plants, hitting apartment buildings, schools, hospitals, municipal offices, and so on. I don't have much sympathy for their side. That's for darn sure.